Celtics win 112-88. It's a milestone night in the Garden. Garden Report, CLNS Radio, and Celticsblog. All right, welcome to the Garden Report. My name is Jared Weiss, rocking out on the air guitars. Jimmy Toscano from Celticsblog, CSNNE.com, and the Boston Metro. Any other affiliations you want to throw out there? No.
We'll leave those ones.
No joke coming. Evan's Clinchy from the blog of the Celtics, otherwise known as Celticsblog.
The blog of the Celtics.
That's where you're watching this show, unless you're watching it on YouTube or CLNS Radio. That's where I work. My name is Jared Weiss. There wasn't really much to talk about in this game, so we're really going to focus on... Before we take off, we're going to focus on the big events that happened tonight. We had the return of Michael Petras to the Garden,
He didn't play.
I love and I miss.
He was here.
And apparently he loves and misses us too. So we'll talk about that.
Definitely
We'll hear from
Definitely
him.
you.
Definitely me. And Paul Pierce and Kevin Garnett hit some big milestones. KG moving into 15th all-time on the NBA scoring list, passing Jerry West, and Paul Pierce passing the Chuckster, Charles Barkley, friend of the show. No, not
Sir
really.
Charles.
Not really.
He might be.
But he passes. Maybe he is.
Probably.
Maybe he's one of those views that we see on the YouTube hit counter. But so, assuming he even knows how to use a computer. So Paul Pierce passes Chuck for 20th of all time. KG actually in a couple of weeks has a chance to pass Reggie Miller, unless Reggie Miller makes a comeback with the Celtics, which we're hearing about. Was that last year we were hearing about that?
Like
it was more than 1 year ago.
Was it a couple years ago? Yeah. Oh, yeah, that was when Stephon Marbury ended up coming, was it?
Which would be 4 years ago.
He
wouldn't
could
it?
have played.
Yeah, well, whatever.
Still could, right?
He's not coming back, and
23.
KG's going to be passing him pretty soon. So let's hear from Kevin and Paul and Doc on their milestones tonight.
Just feels like every game we're clapping. It feels like one of those two, or somebody's passing something every night. No, they make a joke of it, but it's really cool. When you pass a Barkley and a West, those names, that's pretty impressive. I mean, Kevin just passed the logo. When you think of it in those terms, it's pretty remarkable what he's doing. I don't think they know. Kevin, you will never know because he won't let you. And Paul, is a little bit. I think they take it in stride. I think, maybe that's why they're so good. I think it's what they expect. I don't think, like if one of us in this room passed Jerry West, we'd be having a party after the game tonight. But to them, I think it's part of their journey.
When you guys are telling me that I'm surpassing these people that I use for these different reasons, it's another form of feeling. It's another form of emotion. So I don't know. I know someday I'll probably sit back and actually think about it, and it'll probably mean something. But the one word I just keep thinking about, I'm just flattered, because without those people, those players who've created our history, made our league what it is, for young guys or younger guys like myself, to follow in the path, it wouldn't be no Kevin Garnett. It wouldn't be any of the yesteryear. So I'm flattered, more than honored.
To accomplish anything he ever wanted to do. He has that determination. For him to be where he is at, it's pretty remarkable because it's more than just scoring. He's tops in so many other categories that it's just like, it's unbelievable. He's a once-in-a-generation type of player. Not a lot of people get a chance to play with those type of players. And I'm fortunate that I've been able to, play with him these last 5-6 years. It's been an honor to watch him each and every game, how he prepares, how he comes to work every day, his approach. It's something we all can learn from.
Well, let's talk about the game. I guess we technically have to talk about it for it to be a post-game show. Right. Before we're going to get into boxing out and baller anyway, so we'll get the analysis in. But just this was a comeback game for them, amazingly. After playing the Charlotte Bobcats, they needed a bounce back game, Jimmy. Yeah. I mean, they bounced back.
And literally, they lost by 24 yesterday, and then they won by 24 today, right? And that's, my math is off.
Ooh, early boxing out.
Yeah, 24. You're right.
Yeah. So, back to square one. There you are. It was a good response to that, no-show performance yesterday. It was nice to see the bench really step up. I'll get into that a little bit later in my stat of the boxing out. But just in general, it was a good team effort. Obviously, I thought Pierce set the tone, being back on the court. We just heard from him and everyone talking about the great career he's had. Obviously, none of us could do it justice by talking about, the impact he's had on the organization since he came here, and how important he is and will be even when he's long gone, retired. I think he's one of those guys that will be back, and there'll be a Paul Pierce night, and there'll be the banner raising, the number raising, obviously.
And they showed when
Same
he
with KG.
when he hit the milestone, they showed on the jumbotron like an empty spot on the banner where his number's definitely going to be retired pretty much as soon as he retires.
I mean, yeah, like the next day, like how long can Wick Grousbeck wait to retire this guy's number? It seems like
right from the press conference, they just schedule a game right after the press conference and they
immediately.
Place it right there,
and same with KG. I mean, the guy. To pass. Jerry West, one of the all-time greats. I mean, there he is sitting on the logo. I don't think they're gonna change the logo into like KG being like this or anything like that. But those two guys just
the logo will just be him leaning against the stanchion.
Right, amazing careers, and like you said,
pushing small European
there's
people.
Plenty of time for them to even go up higher up the list. So that's great.
Yeah, and these last two games have really illustrated the difference between this Celtics team with Paul Pierce and this team without him. Because, I mean, you watched them play against Charlotte last night, or maybe you didn't watch, maybe you got better things to do, but this team has a whole different identity. Honestly, gotta love it. A whole different identity without Paul Pierce. I mean, it's not just the fact that Pierce can score, but the fact that when they don't have Pierce on the floor, there's no identity offensively. They don't know where the ball's going. Yet Pierce is a decoy as much as he is a shooter. I mean, when there's no Paul Pierce to defend against, it's so much easier for opposing teams to just kind of guard each guy on the floor and lock them all down. I mean, Pierce only shot 6 times tonight, but you could feel his influence all around because he was drawing defenders out. He was spacing the floor. He was doing a lot to just keep the Celtics flowing offensively. The fact that Jeff Green scored 20 points, KG had 12, other guys were getting in on the scoring. It's a testament to what Paul Pierce does to kind of diversify the offense. I mean, whole different team. Tuesday night against the Bobcats versus tonight. I mean, it's just night and day.
All right, well, let's get into the numbers now. Boxing out. Evans, what's your stat of the night?
My stat of the night is 13.7. What is that, you ask? It is Shadlick Randolph's average rebounds per 36 minutes.
Wow.
Shadlick Randolph had 1 rebound. He played
this guy.
Production.
2 minutes and 38 seconds, so he's got 13.7 per 36. Almost as good a rebounder as he was in China, you mentioned to me, Jimmy. So, pretty impressive that Shadlick had such a productive night for the Celtics. I mean, seriously, it's a blowout. What do you want from me? It's,
my stat of boxing out, I should say. Let's keep it what it is here. Randolph didn't actually help it because he had 0 points, but the bench as a whole had 58 points tonight. I mean, that's crazy. If your bench is scoring 58 points, you're going to win every game, unless your starters completely, fall on their faces. But it was great to see, like you said, Jeff Green with 20 points. Yeah. Crawford, Wilcox, I thought had a really good first quarter. Yeah, especially first quarter. I think he's just like picking up the trash in a way, and I like what I see out of him. It's somewhat, they're 9 deep easy, so that's good performance out of the bench tonight.
All right, speaking of output, free throw attempts, 35. That's a season high for the Celtics. And Paul talked about it after the game.
Season high, 35 free throws for you guys. Is that aggressiveness, the kind of mentality you guys are thinking going into tonight?
I mean, I think we are. Like I said, we were all pissed with the way we played last night. And so, it didn't matter who was going to come into the gym. You could have put San Antonio out there, Oklahoma, Lakers, wherever the top teams are out there. I think we would have put this type of effort and probably won by the same amount with the way we played last night.
The Celtics were aggressive. They needed to be aggressive coming off of that back-to-back loss, especially because it's a back-to-back. You need to, even if you're not getting humiliated by the worst team of the history of the sport pretty much, you need to be able to come out and really be aggressive and take it to the guy's chest right off the bat, just so that you build the momentum for yourself, so that you don't because if they get off to a slow start coming off of a back-to-back, especially when they have to travel, it wasn't a home, it was back-to-back. They had to travel from down Charlotte, which is probably a 2-hour flight home at 3 in the morning. They're probably miserable right now, which is probably why everybody was so cranky even after the game, after a big win. But it's really important that they get out quickly and get people into foul trouble and really mess with the opponent's rotations. Kyle Lowry had 5 fouls in this game. Rudy Gay had 4 fouls in this game. I thought that was the biggest thing for the Celtics. Allowed them to force more turnovers because they didn't have the go-to ball handlers in the game. The Raptors did. So that was really huge for them. All right, well, now let's ball out since Jimmy concurs. Baller of the night, Jimmy, who's your best player tonight?
Jordan Crawford. I just thought it was one of his best games, if not his best game as a Celtic,
in the top
aside
5.
from the circus 3, which went in, which was awesome. I thought he had some really nice moves to the hoop. some nice takes.
The dipsy do.
Yeah, the dipsy do.
I don't know if Tommy said dipsy do, but I
think
could
it
hear
was
him in the back of my head.
two times I saw him have two nice takes to the basket. So I mean, if they can get that offense that they need from him, and get 12 points off the bench tonight, that's perfect. They're 4 from 9. That's exactly what Doc wants from this guy, is right around 12 points. If he can get that, that's great.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a guy that, you weren't going to get 12 points from Leandro Barbosa tonight or Jason Collins. So it's good to get that out of him.
I feel like one of those guys might have given it to you. Yeah.
One of them may have stepped up, but
Collins might have had 12 all season.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
I think the rest of the team is impressed by what they've seen out of Crawford. I know Terry tonight said that was surprised at how humble he is. He's not one of those, maybe he looks like it on the court, but he's not one of those like cocky, like arrogant guys off the court, according to Terry. And I don't have any reason to believe that he's lying to us. So it seems like maybe Crawford had sort of we had the wrong perception of it maybe coming in here.
Because he was a Washington Wizard. I mean,
right.
It kind of comes naturally.
Exactly. And your baller of the night.
My baller of the night, Jimmy, that would be Jeff Green. We were talking about how the Celtics need to come out with aggression tonight in this game, and Jeff Green did exactly that. He had 20 points on 14 shot attempts. Not great efficiency, but the fact that he was willing to attack when his jumper was open, he took that. When there was a driving lane to attack, he went after that. I mean, he was really just taking every opportunity he could find offensively. I don't think we ever would have seen this game from him 2 months ago. I mean, he's really kind of improved.
Dramatically.
And he always had this talent, this ability to do this, but just the willingness to attack that he didn't have a couple months ago has really shown up now. And give him credit for that. I mean, he's a guy who could really help them in a playoff run, be a key scorer off the bench.
Yeah, and it's the Green that they thought that they signed from like day one, and it just took a little longer for it to happen. It took longer than anybody wanted to see.
This is the guy you're paying $9 million for.
But it really,
not that guy in November.
Right, but it really was, I don't want to say unfair, but we don't know what it's like to come back from a heart surgery. We don't know what
it's bad.
Going on.
It's pretty awful.
Yeah, I mean, we assume it's pretty
Thank
awful.
You. Are you a doctor?
Yes.
Just plays
okay.
on the show.
Okay.
Just plays on the Garden Report. But and I'll wrap it up.
All of you.
I'll wrap it up though. It's just good to see him way more comfortable out there on the court than he was the first month or two in.
Well, I think this is when they originally signed him to that 1-year tender, right before he had the heart problem. This is what they thought was going to happen, because when they first traded for him,
right.
he was playing like he was playing with Kevin Durant, and it wasn't working. But he was hiding in the corner, wasn't sure exactly what to do with it, because that was a lot of what he had to do with Durant and Westbrook out there, was kind of just play third fiddle to those guys.
Right.
But in Boston, he was playing like sixth fiddle, but they didn't want him to do that. They wanted him to be the first fiddle of the second unit.
Right.
A lot of fiddle references going on.
A lot of fiddle.
We got an orchestra behind us, but he's finally figured out how to be that first cello, should I say, because he's big and he's powerful.
He's a bass, I think.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so, but either way, he's slapping the bass right now, because he is just...
the Brandon bass.
This doesn't even make sense.
All right.
But
this is getting out of control.
This is terrible.
But no, but he...
Stop watching, everybody.
Earlier this year, Jeff, when we thought he was coming around, it was because he was getting the ball on the left elbow and he was actually dribbling into the lane.
Yeah.
Now he's getting the ball in all these different spots. It's not just going out of the left elbow or trying to trick somebody thinking that he's taking a corner three and then drive around them. He now has the comfort to actually run plays intended for him to drive from pretty much everywhere on the court, and that's been the big thing for him.
Sure.
He can actually go. He can go with his left hand. We were calling him no left hand Green. Nobody actually called him that, but I'm making that up right now. But he wasn't using his left hand at all earlier this year. He's now a little bit more comfortable with that. I think with him, it's just that when you have such a massive procedure like heart surgery, you kind of have to reacclimate yourself to doing all those different little things in life.
You just start over.
Yeah, exactly. And he's finally gotten to the point where he looks like the Jeff Green that is on paper.
Yeah, agreed.
And consistent.
Yeah. And they're winning games. It's not like a coincidence that they've been winning games, since he's picked up his play.
It's true. And we want to go from the guy that is currently the backup small forward to the guy that was the backup small forward last year. Michael Petrus, a guy that everybody loves. I don't know a single person that doesn't love him with all their heart. He's a funny guy. Everybody talked about it, how much they love him, how they miss him and everything after and before the game. But before the game, he gave a really solemn and kind of depressing interview. So let's just take a quick look at what he said.
I'm surprised that the Celtics have continued to win without Rondo.
I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised at all. Maybe you guys surprised, but I'm not, because one thing they have a great coach. and they have a great organization. And I think that even Doug doesn't have all the key guys that he wants to, he's still going to win the game. And that's what Boston got. They have a great coach.
How long did it take you to get over not being back here? Because I know you wanted to be back here.
I can't get over it. I cannot. I'll be honest with you guys. I always be honest. I just can't. Because Boston was what I like to do. Fight, protect your jersey, and that's what I like to do. And then it is what it is. But, you know, I'm very happy to see those guys back. And so you never know. Hopefully I'll be back. You never know. Cross your fingers.
You'd like to play for him next year?
I would love to play as I'm with the girls guy in the locker room, KG, Paul Pierce, and every time that they want to make a championship run, it would be great for me to play for them.
Would you say it's the best team I've ever played for?
That's the best team, yes. Plus, I had fun. Boston is why I'm here. It is what it is. I have to move on. We moved on, and hopefully, you never know. Life changes fast. Maybe I can wear that green again. You never know.
So Petrus wants to come back to the Celtics next year. Do you think that, assuming he wants to take the vet min, because I know Doc said before the game that he was looking for more money at first, and they couldn't do that because Doc's way of saying they didn't want to pay him more than the vet min. And then it turns out the market wasn't as strong for him as he thought. He ends up settling for like the vet min with Toronto already when the season started. So next year, Celtics come to him during the offseason, say, Michael, be our 12th man. We'll give you the vet min. Is that the right move for the Celtics?
It's tough to see what they're going to look like next year, but I think that that's kind of past now. I think that if they really wanted him back, he would have taken the vet minimum to come back. I'm pretty sure I heard that he would have taken the vet minimum to come back. So the fact that the Celtics weren't interested with him. He had a solid time here. It wasn't amazing. I mean, like you said, a great guy. But if he was a jerk, would you want him back? I mean, production-wise, it wasn't like he definitely lost a couple times. He's injury-prone. He's banged up.
He was in an epic shooting slump in the playoffs.
Yeah,
it killed them against Miami.
Anything. I think that they're pretty happy with who they have now. I don't think that they're going to look that way. Who knows what's going to happen? Maybe if he's out of a job after the trade deadline, they bring him in. Who knows? But like the video showed, he's unhappy, and he should be. He hasn't played since January 6th. So who would be happy with that?
Yeah, Jared, you say that you can't think of a single person who dislikes Michael Petrus, but I could name one. Dwayne Casey. The guy's under contract with the Raptors, and he's talking about how he wants to be in Boston. Like, what do you think his teammates, his coaches think of this?
Yeah.
He's got to be professional about this. Yeah. And, sitting there in a Raptors uniform complaining that you can't be a Celtic, that's not how you can be professional in this league. I don't know.
It's actually a Raptors warm-up, actually. So close.
Right.
Excuse me. There's probably a uniform underneath the warm-up shirt,
It's true.
No one's seen it in a while, though.
That's true.
All right, so just really quickly, we're gonna go. We usually go around the league, or at times we go around the league. We're gonna go around the sports. That makes sense, right?
Sporting world.
We're on the sporting world over to the NFL. We're gonna switch up those last two letters there. So today we have a crazy day where Wes Welker leaves the Patriots. Danny Amendola comes in and replaces him. Jason Terry said after the game that he's a Seahawks fan and a Pats fan, but Seahawks first, so he's rooting for the Seahawks. But he gave a lot of praise to Amendola. Evans, we'll start with you. What do you think of this move? Are the Patriots okay?
It doesn't look like the right move X's and O's wise for the Patriots. There must be something going on behind the scenes that we don't know about, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why would they lowball Welker like that unless there's something we don't know? Something we're not seeing about this. It doesn't make sense on paper, but there's got to be something we don't know that's not on paper.
Right. Welker's up here. Amendola's kind of like sort of in his shadow a little bit. The good thing about Amendola is that he's younger, so maybe he can turn into Wes Welker. I don't know. Wes Welker's a pretty damn good slot receiver. Just look at the numbers. Amendola's got the health issues going on, so you got to consider that. Like you said, there's got to be something else to it because to only offer reportedly $5 million a year for 2 years. That tells you something. Nobody thought that. Everyone was thinking like 8 or 9. Yeah. So.
We were thinking that apparently.
Right. To put him on the same pay scale as Amendola is just a little sketchy.
It is. It's shocking. But I think that clearly Welker's age killed his value a little bit.
Yeah,
seeing
no.
that because nobody comparing just talent of the lineage of Pro Bowl with this guy, 5 straight Pro Bowls.
Right.
Everything about him shows that he's an elite player. For the fact that he's getting paid the same amount as a good up-and-coming receiver is kind of shocking. But it also says a lot to Amendola's promise. I think it might have been Peter King earlier Wednesday, because you're watching this on a Thursday, had a good comparison that Amendola's numbers are actually better than Welker's numbers in the year before he went to the Patriots.
Yeah, I looked at those too.
Yeah.
They're pretty similar, but Amendola's was a little bit better. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think he had a couple more touchdowns, a handful more catches, but the key was it was in like 5 less games because Welker's always been healthy. I mean, aside from the leg injury, I mean, he still didn't miss time after that. But Amendola's got the injury history going on.
All right, well, we're going to wrap this one up.
Yes, we
For
are.
Evans, Clinchy, Jimmy Toscano, my name is Jared Weiss. Celtics win 112-88 over the Raptors. Garnett Report, Celticsblog, and CLNS Radio.